Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of NCompass Live. I am your host, Krista Burns, here at the Nebraska Library Commission. NCompass Live is the Commission's weekly online event where we cover anything that may be of interest to librarians across the state, any library activities or topics, anything going on. We have Commission staff that do sessions, and we have guest speakers. We have a mixture of that today. We do these sessions 1-hour sessions every Wednesday morning live at 10 a.m. Central Time, and they are recorded, so if you're unable to be here for one of our live sessions, that is not a problem. You can go onto our website and see our now almost 3 years worth of recorded sessions. We do a mixture of types of presentations here, interviews, mini training sessions, web tours, whatever we can come up with. This week, we have a group of librarians on the call with us, on the session with us, and myself, who are going to tell you about this grant program that is just wrapping up, actually. The Gates Foundation, Bill Melinda Gates Foundation, Opportunity Online Hardware Grant Program. Now, this is a grant program that is finished, so this is not something that is available coming up for anyone to apply for. It's actually one that is wrapping up. But we thought now that it's been a 3-year program, we've been doing it, we wanted to share with our library colleagues out there what happened, how it went, how this program was, just to give you a taste of this kind of thing and what you could possibly do yourself if any of these kind of opportunities come up again. First, I'm going to give you a little overview of the grant itself. This was a grant that back in 2009 was when this whole process started. In 2009, the Nebraska Library Commission applied for and awarded this grant. This is a grant offered by the Bill Melinda Gates Foundation, the U.S. Libraries division of that. And it was a grant called the Opportunity Online Hardware Grants. The Gates Foundation split up the country into 3 different groups based by state and offered this grant to them in different rounds. We were offered to apply for it in the 3rd round, the 3rd and final round of the grant program itself. So it had already been going on for a few years before we even got involved in it, which was good for us in that they had a lot of the kinks worked out of the system. They knew what was going to be going on with it. They had the process pretty much down. But we applied for it, and we were accepted to participate in this 3rd round of the hardware grant program. Now, you may have received your library computers over the years from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They have been providing hardware to libraries for years. I think we started, the first one we did was, I believe, in 2000, if I'm remembering that correctly. But so this has been an ongoing thing that the Gates Foundation has done, giving computers and equipment and tech support in some cases to libraries. This grant, this Opportunity Online Hardware Grant, this is the last time that the Gates Foundation is giving out actual equipment and hardware. They are switching gears and doing things more in another way. Sustainability is becoming a big issue for them. Benchmarks is something new that they're coming out with, public library benchmarks for guiding what libraries can do. So they're going a different direction now. So this was the last time that from the Gates Foundation you would be able to get equipment, computers, that kind of thing. So for all future opportunities that they may put out, there'll be something different. It's still a work in progress on their side, let me tell you. We are not sure what the next incarnation will be. The most recent thing they've come out with, as I said, is these some benchmarks for libraries, but that is also a work in progress as well. So at some time in the future, you'll hear more about that in more detail. But for this particular thing today, we're talking about is the Gates hardware grants. The purpose of these grants was to help libraries upgrade old computers so they could replace them with something new, or add new computers to the bank of computers they may already have. So a combination of both. Libraries could do whatever they wanted with the new computers that they got. They could get rid of old ones and replace them, or just keep the old ones in the library and add a whole bunch of newer computers. The Gates Foundation focused on communities with high concentrations of poverty, and I'll tell you in a second how they figured out that criteria, and if they thought they were vulnerable to having their technology services become obsolete, meaning the computers were getting so old that they were just not sustainable anymore, that they really shouldn't be out there for the public to use anymore. People were not coming into the library as much anymore because the computers were so old. So that was their two main criteria for picking libraries who would become part of this grant. In addition, they added something new to this grant this time, sustainability. Sustainability has been important for years, of course, but they added this as something more concrete for the libraries. In the past, the Gates Foundation would just give the computers to the libraries, done deal, it's all good, here you go. They realized that some libraries, they were appreciative of these computers and the equipment, and that was great, but some libraries did not then continue on with keeping up with these computers, keeping them up to date, keeping them upgraded, replacing them when they got too old. So in order to give a little more control and sense of ownership to the libraries rather than just handing them equipment and walking away, they included in this a sustainability related section part of the grant where libraries had to actually raise matching funds for this. It was not just the Gates Foundation giving them the equipment or giving them money. Libraries had to raise some of their own money as well. And they also had to attend an advocacy training session, a training event that was held for them to help them learn how to promote the library more, how to gain money for the library, how to fundraise for the library, things like that. So it was a little different from all the previous Gates grants. It was not just free computers and nothing else. Libraries had to actually raise their own funds to match the funds that the Gates grant was giving them. Now, some libraries were already doing that, of course. We even had some libraries in our grant that were perfectly on top of that, not a problem. But there were some that just had never thought about it. Some people had computers in their libraries from the grant that the Gates did in 2000 or 2003. And that's how old these computers were and not been upgraded or replaced since then. And that can be a problem in libraries. Sure, they are there and they may work. However, they're definitely not working as well as your users will need them to work. Now, the eligibility for this grant was based on the Gates Foundation themselves collected information on poverty concentrations and free school lunch programs and unemployment. So this is just public information that they were able to collect, U.S. Census data, that kind of thing, to figure out libraries that would be eligible based on that. And then libraries themselves, at first the libraries were determined to be eligible based on that information that the foundation had collected. And then those who were eligible were asked to go and report what they currently had in their libraries, what computers they had, how old they were, what systems they were running, that kind of thing. So all their public access computers, I went into, there's a service called Tech Atlas via Web Junction where you can inventory and keep track of all your computers. So libraries went into there and just reported what they had. Now this is specific, here it says public access computers. This grant was only for computers that are available to the public. This is not for staff or behind the scenes or for cataloging or anything like that. So the only computers that were reported on for the grant were the public ones, and any computers that were purchased via the grant money were only for the public as well. So after the Gates Foundation received that information from the libraries, then they determined who would be eligible based on how old their computers were. And some of our libraries were and some weren't. I don't remember exactly how many. We had quite a few libraries that were eligible that didn't just choose to participate. There were other requirements that the libraries would have to do also. They had to decide based on all of these other things they were going to be needing to do if they wanted to join into the grant program. So once it was determined that they met these eligibility requirements, the level of poverty determined by the Gates Foundation, and then their own data that was submitted about what computers they had, then they were told, well, here will be the things you will have to do to participate in this grant. The Tech Atlas computer inventory, as I mentioned, that is where they went in first and entered the starting of here's what we have right now. Throughout the life of the grant, they had to go back in there twice to update their computer inventory. This was a two-phase grant. Money was given to the libraries in year 1, 2010, and then in 2011. and the money was then used to purchase the computers. So every time a new purchase was made, libraries would in and update the computer inventory with the new equipment and removing the old equipment from the inventory if they decided they had actually retired some of the equipment that would be in there. They had to raise the matching funds for these computers. The Gates Foundation was providing actual money to the libraries for these computers. They were not supplying the actual equipment. This is also different from previous grants. In the past, the Gates Foundation just came and brought you a computer and installed it, and that was it. In this grant, they gave you the money and you bought your own computer. They were, actually it was pretty awesome. They didn't care what you bought. You could buy a PC, you could buy a Mac, you could buy Linux, you could do whatever you wanted to purchase for a computer. There were no rules on what kind of computer you could purchase, what brand, what operating system, anything. Just buy something, have it be out there for the public. But the libraries did have to raise some matching funds for that and report on how they did that. And then they purchased, as I said, they purchased the equipment themselves. So they were then, once the matching funds were raised, they were then the funds, the funding from the Gates Foundation was dispersed out to them, and then they were free to go ahead and buy what they wanted to. The things that they could buy were the computers themselves, of course, and then also things that can support the computers. Routers, switches, printers, scanners, anything like that that would be used with the computer that you had available. Then any money that was left over after just purchasing the computers could be held onto, and this is part also of the sustainability part of this grant, that anything else that was money left over that they'd raised could then be held onto for ongoing maintenance of the computer. Basically, the computers generally according to Gates Foundation information, in a public setting like a public library where they're being used constantly and by many people, 4 years or so is the average lifespan, 3 to 4 years that it will last. And you will need to do upgrades to it, software upgrades, possibly even hardware upgrades. Might need to replace something inside. You might need to buy ink or toner for the printer, that kind of thing. So you have all this extra money then that will be set aside for those ongoing purposes to keep the computers running in the future. Also, the libraries had to complete a survey. This is something that's been done for years by ALA, American Library Association, the Public Library Funding and Technology Access Study. This is something you may have heard from here at the Library Commission, of us contacting you and saying, please, submit this survey. And this is just ALA collecting information about what libraries are doing, how their technology is, and how their funding is, and then using it to make reports and help libraries to earn more money. So this survey, they had to be completed in all 3 years of the grant, 2009, 2010, 2011. It was just completed last month for the last time. So it's basic information about the library, their technology, and their funding. So the libraries participating had to do that as well. And then the last thing, one of the big things in this grant they had to do was this Turning the Page advocacy training program. Turning the Page is a program run by the Public Library Association, developed by them with funding from the Gates Foundation, and it's just a program to help librarians and library supporters, not just librarians. They were able to bring board members or anybody in their community who may support the library to create partnerships with the community, build alliances with people in the community to support the library with either funding or with their own speaking about the library. Here for Nebraska, they did a session, a 2-day in-person session that was held actually in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. They combined us with the South Dakota libraries. So we had a group of people there that went up to that day for 2 days in November of 2009. It was also available online for people who were not able to travel to South Dakota on that 2009 dates in November. There's also an online version of it that libraries could participate in that would also meet the requirements. So this was everything that libraries were required to do to participate in the program. In the end, we had 37 libraries that participated and completed every single criteria, did every single requirement that they needed to, and received all of their money and bought all of their computers. So that was awesome. everybody started in 2009, and everybody was still there when we just wrapped it up last month here in 2011. In total in Nebraska, we had funded 122 computer workstations were funded. Now, libraries were able to buy more than that. That's just the number that the Gates Foundation allotted, saying we think you should buy, library so-and-so, this many. But if their money was more, could buy more computers than that, they were able to purchase more than that. And the total value of the money that was given was $317,200. As I said, our Turning the Page event was held in November of 2009. They held different Turning the Page events throughout the country for different states. So this was the one that was held that we went to for Nebraska. And there is a website where we have some basic information about the grant. There it is. This is our actually, wait a minute. There we go, wrong page. This is information about the Gates Hardware Grant, the basics of it, and this is where you can also see a list of the libraries who were participated in the grant and how many computers they were funded for. Now, as I said, they may have purchased more than this in the end, but this will let you see who the libraries are that were part of the grant. And we also have information here, just for your reference while I'm on the page, about other Gates grants that we have participated in here in Nebraska. As you can see, our previous ones, 2003, 2005, a Wi-Fi grant. And then the one we're talking about today is this 2009 being the year that it started. There we go. Now, anybody have any questions about the basics of the grant? How it happened, where it came from? As I said, this is a grant that is wrapping up, so this is not something that's available for anyone to apply for now. We're just reporting on it. But anybody have any questions, comments, anything before we get into some more discussion? Okay, so that is the basics of the grant itself, and as I said, I've got on the line here some of the librarians who participated in the grant. So I am going to have them now start share with you guys some of what they did with the grant. First thing we're going to talk about is the first thing that they had to do way back in 2009 was this advocacy training. And I want to mention here, you can see here that there's actually a URL I have for Turning the Page 2.0. As I said, the Turning the Page advocacy training that was created, Gates Foundation gave PLA money to create this program, and it was first used in these grants for them, these Opportunity Online Hardware grants, and it was used to, as I said, train librarians in how to advocate for their libraries, raise funds, make partnerships in the community. Now that the hardware grant, this Opportunity Online Hardware Grant is over, it is now available to anyone who wants to participate in it as an online training. Turning the Page 2.0, and this is the URL for it on the ALA website, where you can at any time, if you want to, go there, and they have a breakdown of all the modules and the classes, the sections that were used for it. So it is now an ongoing thing that anyone else who wants to can go ahead and use it. I highly recommend it. I went to the training that we had up in November 2009 up in South Dakota, and it was great. There's a lot of great information. Even if you think you know what you're doing with everything you can possibly do for raising money and advocating for your library, you always learn something new, and a lot of people have had great response from this. Before we started doing it, there were comments. As I said, we were in the third round of grants for this, so previous libraries already done it, and some of the comments from librarians actually attending was they were very scared at the beginning. Didn't know what they were going to do as far as talking to their community and reaching out to new people or whatever, and that just attending this helped them at least get the confidence to start talking to people and reaching out and being a little more pushy on behalf of the library, which is a good thing. So it was a great benefit for them. I'm just going to unmute our librarians we have on the line here who are part of the grant, those of you that have the microphones. So be aware, you guys all that have microphones will be all unmuted now so you can talk freely. Actually, someone's got a little feedback going. I'm going to see if I can figure out. Okay, that sounded like that was you, Jan, who had some feedback going. So I'm going to see if we can.
I was rustling some papers, maybe.
I did hear that.
I'm
Yes.
on my
Okay. Okay. Yep. It sounds a little better now. Yeah. Seems
Okay.
to, yeah. So, and I think I've got.
I'm using my headset and microphone now.
Oh, that's perfect. Yep. Okay. So all of you, I've unmuted you. And when we first have you guys talk, I will have you first introduce yourself the first time when you do something to say so we know where you're from. We've got Nicole, Kathy, Jan, Donna, and Gail. You are the ones that are online and unmuted. First, I wanted to have you just talk about this advocacy training. If you attended the one in person or you did it online, what did you think? How did that go for you? Anybody feel free to speak up.
This is Jan Sears. I did it online, and it was very interesting and inspiring. I haven't done too much of it since then, but actually it's so long ago and I've done so much since, I've forgotten a lot of it. But, so I'm going to redo the training that you just put up the URL for.
The 2 yes, exactly. Yeah, it was a long time ago, and I think at the time it was perfect timing in the beginning because 2009, and the very next thing libraries had to do right after that in the grant was start raising their funds and reaching out to the community. So at the time it was perfect. Now you're right. And yeah, it has been a while, but yeah, definitely go in and check out the new 2.0 one that they have. Vicki Retzlaff is on with us as well. She's from Grant County Library here in Nebraska, and she does not have a microphone, but she's typing in our questions section here. And she said she attended in person in Sioux Falls, and she said the most important thing I learned was to create partnerships with the community so they have a vested interest in the library. And that is very important. Yes, definitely get them interested, get them to have to feel a connection to the library. And she said that is working great for her. That's awesome, Vicki. Anybody else have any things to say about when they did the advocacy training? As Jan said, it was a few years ago, but.
This is Kathy Thompson.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, this is Kathy Thompson. I'm in Lexington, Nebraska, and I attended it live in Sioux Falls also. I thought that the variety of opportunity to learn about a lot of different things was great. It was well organized. I also thought they presented a lot of ways for us to be prepared for all things, whether you meet somebody on the street or how to prepare yourself when presenting things, and just to get organized and be prepared.
Yes, those elevator speech type things. You only have a minute or two, and you happen to be talking to someone, and you have something ready to spout off at them. Yep, absolutely. Someone else just tried to say something too.
Well,
At the same.
this is Gail in Ainsworth.
Oops.
Oh my.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Gail.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I attended in Sioux Falls, and it was wonderful. And I'm just sorry that I could not attend all of the classes. I had other people with me, and we divided up. But there's still no way that you could get all of them. And it was just awesome. The people that went with me were very impressed. And the one lady, she is an extension trainer, and she's attended lots of meetings and education, and she said this was by far the best ever.
No, great. Yeah. Yes, they did have lots of what they called modules there. Gail, I think is that the construction going on behind you were mentioning earlier? I hear a sound.
Yes, I'm going to mute it again.
It's okay. Yes, no problem. Yeah, they had various modules, and they had them going on at the same time, so you could pick and choose what you wanted to see. And as Gail said, bringing other staff along was a great idea as well, so that you could have someone else there to attend a certain module that you couldn't get to, and at least get all the information from it. I think somebody else had tried to talk as well.
Yeah, this is Nicole from Madison. I attended in Sioux Falls. I really liked it. I thought it was a great training. It was very informative. We got a lot of working dinners. A lot of what I really took home from the training was the confidence to ask for the funds.
Yes.
That helped immensely, and a lot of really great ideas for fundraising that other libraries were doing or using. I think we took a lot of notes on a lot of those things, and that was really helpful.
Yes.
Just some different, yeah.
Great.
But
Okay.
I thought it was a great training. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Thanks, Krista.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it was a good thing that they did, and all costs paid for by the Gates Foundation was great. All you had to do is get those couple of days that you could take off to head up there. So everything was paid by them for that in person. And now ALA, PLA have that online version of it available. So definitely, I think everyone would recommend go ahead and try that out. The next thing we have on
is there a certain login for that?
Once you get there, you probably would create an account for yourself to do it. It would not be the same thing that you used before if you were doing the online, because it's a whole new program. They've got the 2.0 one.
Oh, I don't have to try to remember a password.
Yeah. So the next thing I wanted to have people talk about is the fundraising. I know some of you have mentioned you got the courage to ask for the fundraising. How did you raise your local matches for your money? What did you do? Who were you able to get money from in your communities? Was it the usual suspects, or were you able to bring in some new people?
This is Gail. We used our library foundation and also our Brown County Foundation to raise funds for our first year. And then the second year went much easier because all you had to do is mention and it was right there. People just gave.
Right, because they remembered it from the previous year?
Right.
Yeah. Anybody else?
This is Nicole in Madison again, and I solicited some local businesses, and the first year it was given to me by one local business, and the second year by another local business, so we were really lucky.
Great, yeah, getting more than one person to participate in it. Did you do anything with that, like when you put the computers in, like some sort of promotional thing saying funding help by so-and-so? Okay, yeah.
I wrote an article for the paper and had the paper come with me when we picked up the check, so there was some publicity that way. And then we have little placards that we did purchase for each computer, like a little bronze sticker, more or less, that we put on each monitor. That the funds came from the Gates grant and that local business.
That's cool. Yeah, definitely. That's a good way to encourage these people to donate money to the library. Is tell them, well, it's built-in promotion for you guys. We will have stuff everywhere in the library, letting people know that you did this.
Exactly.
Gail was talking about the second year. I was curious, did anyone seem to think that the second year, as Gail said, was easier than the first year because people already knew about it? Did that make a difference that you had already done this a year before?
I think for us, the fact that people were using the new computers and had seen them, and you know, that there was that hubbub raised, made it easier. There was, you know, we're a smaller community, and so the talk had spread.
Right, right. Yeah, and as I said earlier, I didn't get into a lot of these details of it, it was a two-phase grant where libraries were given funding and raised funding in the first year and then did the same thing in the second year and purchased their computers in 2 batches as well. So yeah, by the second year you may already have things installed and people noticing that it already made a difference. And then, yes, they would want to continue helping out with the second year. Vicki on our questions here from Grant County says, I went through the Library Foundation and we held a Halloween bake and craft sale. Cool. Many people donated items and it was well supported by the community. We continued that the next 2 years and now they are looking forward to next year's fundraiser. Oh, great. So you started this as a fundraiser for this grant and now it's going to be an ongoing event. See, always little side effects of these things. Anybody else have anything about their local match that they thought was interesting or helpful? Okay. Promotion of this next thing I want to see what you guys have been doing about. How have you, I know Nicole mentioned she did news articles when she did the first year. What have you been doing to promote these new computers in your community that are in the library? The usual news articles, radio, whatever.
This is Gail. We always do the news articles, and then we also do on the website and the school website. And I do a weekly radio spot, and so I always talked about that, you know, for 3 years.
Yes, on.
So everybody's aware of it.
Awesome. How about anybody else? How have you guys been promoting it, that you've got these new computers? Any special events that you held, or?
This is Jan. I learned about this when I was at Alliance, then I moved to Kimball. So
that's right, yes.
The transition was, I didn't realize when I came here that she had applied for these grants, so I had to do a lot of catching up when I realized that. But anyway, we used the money from some CDs that had been donated to the library, so that's where we got the money. But I did news articles, my regular library column, and we did a publicity thing. But since then, I just keep reminding people that we have the computers. We did do an open house.
Oh, great.
For the community to introduce me and kind of let the business part of the town know what we had here. So that's what we did.
Nice. Yeah, those kind of special events are always a good thing too, a fun thing to do. Just have it be something special that they can come to, and you can show off your new stuff. And Vicki online, she said she put it in their library newsletter as well. Anybody else do anything interesting with their promotion that they'd like to share? Okay. So now that you have these computers and you've been installing them the last couple of years, what are your plans for keeping them going? As I said earlier, the Gates Foundation, one of their big pushes for this grant was the sustainability and the future use of them, and that the funding that they did give you for the workstations was a lot more than it would cost to just buy a computer, so there was extra money. Have you put aside some of this money somewhere so that you can use it for future use? Did you purchase extra things besides the computers at the time? Printers, scanners, whatever.
I purchased the extended warranty
Mm-hmm.
for the 3 years as a sustainability.
Right. So anything does
asset.
happen. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then, you know, I'm just trying to have a 4-year plan for replacements for all of these computers.
Right. That's a good idea, definitely. Having a plan of some sort, a technology plan that keeps you tracking what you've got, what you need to be replaced, how old stuff is, how long you think things will last.
Right, because we were one of those that had the original.
From
We had 2 of our original Gates Grant computers still in use when we were accepted into this Gates Grant. So, yeah, we had the old...
From 2000 or the
Old
2003?
behemoths.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. They were old.
Yes. And they will work. They will last, which is actually a good thing for the computers that the Gates did give you guys. I heard this from a lot of libraries that, well, we still have the ones from however long years ago, and they're still working, which is is awesome to hear, that in spite of the wear and tear that these computers can get in a public library, if you do take care of them and just keep up with them, they will last for a long time. Nowadays,
We've still got one in use as a kid's computer with games, you know.
There you go,
there's
exactly.
No internet access.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to recycle and get rid of them. Just repurpose them for something else, something like that doesn't need a more high-end, fast computer. If there's something you can do with them, like for the kids, or a just the catalog is on it, just the online catalog is all that runs on it, that kind of thing. Definitely use them for whatever they, can still, as long as they can still work.
Exactly.
Anybody else, what have you done to keep maintaining these computers now that the grant is actually over?
This is Kathy. We also purchased a scanner.
Oh, great.
We had a very old scanner that didn't work most of the time. And then we are in the process of developing a plan for replacement. We had some of the original gates and then some older than that even. So
oh, wow.
We're developing a plan. Very nice.
Great.
And
Yes, that's one of the side effects that, depending on your point of view, is good or bad. Once you've got these computers, you get even more people coming into the library, I've heard.
Yeah.
Vicki, online with us, also says she has started a tech plan, which is great.
Gail.
And Vicki has also purchased a new printer to go along with hers as well. Awesome. That kind of support to help the computers themselves, to have the printers and the extra equipment is great. Yes, go ahead, Gail.
The library board has put in our library budget each year enough money, supposedly, to replace a computer. And then we save some of the funds back, so if we need to have tech help on them, because sometimes they get viruses and things that we don't know how to handle.
Right, right.
And we bought headphones because we seem to have a problem with keeping headphones around.
Oh, really? They walk off?
Well, not that way, but they get dropped and broken. And
oh, okay, yes.
wear and tear.
Okay. Yep.
And walk off.
Yeah, we did have one miss.
Anybody else? What are your plans for maintaining them, or what else did you buy when you purchased the computers? I know some people bought more than the number of computers that were allotted. Did anybody who's on the line here do that?
Yeah, this is Jan again. We did buy one extra computer, and I think actually it was a laptop, and we did buy a printer also.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing too. Libraries could buy desktops, laptops, whatever kind of computer would work best in their situation. Lots of libraries did have issues with space. We don't have room to buy these extra computers and install them. So Gates Foundation was, well, we are happy to have you buy laptops, whatever works for you guys. Just at least get that equipment into your building somehow. Okay. Anything else about sustainability or what you're doing with the grant funds? Okay, well, that was the last official topic that I had here for you guys to share. Does anybody have anything else they want to share about the grant? I know some of you were also involved in our new BTOP grant, Library Broadband Builds Nebraska Communities, that of getting more equipment and computers and upgraded broadband. Is anybody here who's on the line today also involved in that grant?
Yeah, Lexington is. We're just getting those installed now.
Ainsworth is too.
Okay, great. Was there any relation between the two grants? Like, did doing this one have anything to do with the BTOP one? Have any sort of effect on participating in this new grant?
Well, for my library here in Madison, I asked to be put to the very end of the BTOP grant because we had just gotten our second set of computers up and running, and I didn't want the local business that was kind enough to donate all of those funds to get kind of lost in the shuffle.
Right. Yes, it did come right on top of this Gates one. Yeah, and when this the Gates Foundation first came out with this grant back in 2009, this BTOP stuff didn't exist yet, so nobody knew. We did have some other libraries have the same kind of comment of, "Well, we just got computers from you. What now? What's with this new grant? What's up with that?" And a little confused about it. And it's just these grants go for so long. Yeah, nobody knew about the BTOP ones coming. So that's a good idea. Yeah, don't try and be able to sell the new grant along with the old one and not offend anyone who you just asked for money for. Exactly. Vicki says Grant County is awesome. No, go ahead, Nicole. Finish up there.
I was just going to say, once we get all of these in, it's going to be a really big deal. So I just wanted to make sure that that we had time in between. But we still don't have the BTOP grant, so we are the hopefully very last ones.
Right. Yep. That's an ongoing grant too. Still going on. Gail, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that, we had to do the Tech Atlas computer inventory and that big survey. I probably would not have done that if it wasn't for this grant. And I'm glad that I did that computer inventory because it's very useful and all the information is right there.
Yes.
It's so easy to add to the new computers as you get them, and it's all your information you need is there.
Right. And that's something too, the Tech Atlas that everyone used, that inventory is there now free. It's a free service by the Web Junction, where you can inventory your computers. You can also use it for other things, for creating technology plans as well. As a whole other section in that. But as far as the inventory that you guys did, or anybody used it, that is now still in there for you to continue using. You do not have to stop using it now that the grant's over. And like Gail mentioned, keep on using it. Keep using it to keep as a place to keep track of the new ones you're putting in and the old ones you're taking out. That can be your ongoing place to just track all of this information. Your account's in there. It's free. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. So definitely continue using that. Vicki online said she's also in the BTOP grant, and also a couple of our people watching. Laura Hassett Stanton is in it, and Stephanie Hack in Fairfield. Yep, we have other libraries that are also part of the BTOP grant. And Vicki did the same thing as you guys did, Nicole, asked to be at the end of the grant. But they had to do some remodeling in the library. This is true as well. You're getting, as I said earlier, getting more equipment. Where are you going to put it all? And so they need to do construction, remodel a hallway to house the new public learning center. So they are also going to be one of the later ones. And she says, very exciting. It is. New computers, new equipment. Some of the libraries did get upgraded broadband with the new BTOP grant as well.
This is Gail. I haven't received our grants yet either from the BTOP because of our addition onto our library.
Right.
So we're going to get that the first of the year, and I can't wait.
Yeah. This is also nice. It's the BTOP one that it's a couple of years grant as well, so we were able to spread things out over time and hopefully work with you guys, the libraries, on the most convenient time to get the equipment in. Some libraries do already have theirs in and have had open houses, just like one of you guys was mentioning earlier for these new grants, the new computers as well. We have 147 locations in the BTOP grant, so it's a lot larger grant than this one was. A lot more libraries and computers to work with. So anything else you guys would like to share about participating in the grant, how the process went, good things, bad things, tips you'd like to give other people on how to the right way or wrong way to go about doing this?
I thought the process was very easy and it all went real smoothly.
They had a good schedule. They were very specific about mostly about dates, I think.
It's real clear.
Yes, and we very much appreciate all of the help from...
I think the most overwhelming thing was what to purchase.
Yes, what am I going to do with this money? Nicole, you were saying something, I believe?
I just was saying that I appreciate all of the reminders too. A lot of them came from you, Krista, but
yes,
the reminders, please do this, please do that, because that was very helpful for me.
Yes, they worked in each state that the Gates grant had this. The Gates Foundation had these grants where they had what they call their intermediaries, and here in Nebraska it was us at the Library Commission, myself, mainly doing it, and Deborah Dragos, director of our department here, also helping out with that. So that was our job, yes, to make sure that everyone got everything done on time and that we all ended up doing this 100% at the end. In some other states, we know, and this is one of the things that was understood that the Gates Foundation understood is that some libraries might not make it through the whole years. Staff changes, money situation changes, libraries shut down, unfortunately, things like that. So that was our job, to keep track of those kind of things and make sure people kept along going. We got lucky here in Nebraska. No libraries shut down during the lifetime of the grant. And even when we did have some staff changes along the way, we tried to keep up with you guys. And in the end, everyone who started, as I said, was done in the end. So we have 100% participation, which is awesome. I'm very proud of you guys. You did a great job, and we got some great equipment and some great services out there now, hopefully using this equipment to the citizens in the state. And Vicki has comments on here. She says she also appreciated all the reminders, and she really enjoyed the turning the page training and learned a lot. And I really appreciated the opportunity to receive new public access computers. Yes. Anything we can do to help you guys out with getting these grants, we are here to do. Also, keep your eyes open for other grants. They're not always ones that we are involved in here at the Library Commission. Things that you guys can apply for yourself, we're always promoting them out there as well. So anything you can apply for and get more equipment, support, whatever for your library. Anything else?
This is Jan. Moving on to the BTOP. Is there going to be some updates on that soon? I mean, I feel like kind of don't know
where you're at your library.
Well, I won't get the computers till January, which is fine. I'm struggling with where I'm going to put them, but
of course. They should be contacting you. Someone should be, if that's when you're scheduled to, but you can always call here to the commission and ask. Joanne McManus is our program manager for that grant. Call the library, actually call that 800 number I have right there and ask for Joanne, and she can tell you where you're at and what's going on. She's more than happy. We've got staff here in charge of that specific grant, and they've got everything under control for that. But if you're wondering what's going on, definitely give her a call, and she can get you up to date on what's happening specifically for your library.
Well, I'm thinking more about the partnerships with the other
with like the
organizations. Is there updates on that?
That's a work in progress too. I'm not sure exactly about all the different contracts we have. We've got about 10 or 11 different partners that are working with that grant. Things like Department of Labor, court system, health, and that kind of stuff. Joanne would know about that as well. She's working with them on the contracts and the events and what will happen with that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So anybody else have any other comments, or anyone have any questions about it, or how anyone did anything, or anything else you want to share?
I'm just really thankful for the Library Commission overall. You guys have been splendid with, kind of the backbone. Yeah, you said you were proud of all of the individual libraries for maintaining this grant, but again, I would have missed so many due dates without the frequent reminders. So, and with the BTOP grant, you guys went above and beyond to make sure that the broadband grant was available for all of us libraries. So I think it's really critical that everybody acknowledges and appreciates the support that we're getting from you, well, not specifically just from you, but of course from the Nebraska Library Commission.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. You're welcome. As I said, we try and help as much as we can, and any of these things we can get ourselves involved in, we'll try. And I was for this
appreciate it.
Yeah, for this grant, I tried to be as much of a nag as I could without having anyone get really angry at me. So I did do the emails and the phone calls as much as possible. But that was, what I was here for, to make sure I got on top of you guys and got these things taken care of. Yeah. So I hope nobody got too upset at me, and you'll want to work with me again, in spite of all the nagging.
Not in spite of it, because of it. It was beneficial nagging.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I'll do it again. I'll do it next time. Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone. We're about hitting 11 o'clock here, so I think we will wrap it up. We got some great info from you guys, great ideas, I think, that other libraries can use whenever they get involved in these things in the future. as I said, we've got that website on the Libraries Commission page that I linked you to, that I showed you before, that you can go and see who these libraries are. If anyone is interested in talking more to them about their experiences, I'm sure that I'll be very happy to do that. And as everyone mentioned, definitely check out that Turning the Page 2.0 if you're interested in doing learning more about advocating for your library. It was a great program in person they did before, and now they've morphed it into this online thing, and definitely will be very beneficial to you. So thank you, everyone, and all of those of you who showed up from our grant to share your stories about it. That was awesome, great information, and we're very happy to have you here. So that will wrap it up for today's NCompass Live, and I hope you'll join us next week when our topic is job hunting, Brave New World Wide Web, job hunting in the 21st century, ways you can learn to use LinkedIn, Twitter, and online resources effectively to make job contacts, anything job related. Is something great for anybody who wants to look for a job, or those of you who are helping people who are coming into your libraries doing job hunting. So we hope you'll join us next Wednesday for that topic. So thank you very much, everyone, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.